Good morning, YouTubers, and welcome once again to the eastern wing of the Stink Bug Works, that super secret research and development division of Dr. Jet Laboratories, where we sit around and invent things and make stuff. Today, what we're inventing and making is the shrimp boat, formerly called the HK Hobby King rigger, formerly known as the Predator. Well, I don't like the name shrimp boat, so we'll see. Anyway, I thought I'd share some progress with you. I have essentially completed the hull. It's got a couple coats of epoxy on the inside, several coats of epoxy on the outside, and here's something I did while I rounded these corners up here. Why? Well, one, so when you pick it up, it's not so sharp. And two, it saves a gram or two, and there's no water flying off this way. This is air, so, air can deal with this. I've left this side sharp as can be, because you want to shear some water off there as you're coming up out of the hole. So this is pretty much done. I've test mounted this motor, and there's going to be a whole bunch of issues. As I was building this thing, I was thinking, God, there's a lot of room in here. But now that the hatch is on with this little enclosure and such, it's not nearly as roomy as one would think. Because the motor I'm using has a 5mm shaft, I'm using this really nice MHZ collet. The collet itself is aluminum with just a brass nut on it. It's really lightweight, and remember, this thing's all about lightweight. That's why I sanded the corners off, to save a gram or two. Mounting the motor is going to be a bitch, because once this stuffing tube is in here, I have to take the collet off to take the motor off. So I think what's going to happen in the end is, once the stuffing tube's in, I'll mount the collet on the flex shaft and then slide the motor into the collet, mount the motor, and then finally tighten the collet up on that. So the collet's going to mount first before the motor. That's just the way it's going to be. I decided I'm not going to use this rudder for a number of reasons. One, it's just thick as a brick. That's a lot of hydrodynamic drag, and I don't need that. And I don't like these rudders where the pivot point, or your push rod connector, is not perpendicular to the pivot of the rudder. That gives differential throw. We used to use that in ailerons all the time. We'd purposely set them up like that so they'd throw more one direction than the other. So I'm going to use this 10-shock rudder that has the arm perpendicular to the pivot point there, and it's a whole lot thinner and a whole lot sharper. It'll take a lot less work to get it to fit. I had to throw some washers in there to make it work, but it'll all work. And this will, of course, require that I use a blast pickup. So I'm going to put a blast pickup in there and pick up cooling water off the propeller. So just a couple of thoughts as I'm building this thing, putting it together, thinking about, God, where are my cooling runs going to run? I'm going to have some tight bends in there. Coming in here to make this, I may rotate this cooling coil down just a little bit more, and that'll relax the angle on this one as well. So that's some of the thinking. I'm going to use this Shark 50, and I think I'm going to put it right up here along this side, and that way the plumbing from the coil to the speed control will be really short, and then from here I'll just put a outlet right here, so it'll just all be real short. It'll be in, around the motor, through the ESC and out. So that's about the sum total of where I am, but you can see I am in fact making progress. So this thing might be running, what is this? This is the middle of January. It could be running early springtime. So until next time, stay tuned, folks. Jet out.